everyone, and welcome to our next episode of Behind the Curtain. I'm Lauren Hillman with Theatrix, and today we're interviewing Coco Roberge. Hi, Coco.
Hi, Lauren.
How you doing?
I'm very glad to be interviewed by you today, and I want to say hello to all current and former Theatrix troopers.
That's right. You used to work for Theatrix, didn't you?
I sure did. So Deb and I started to collaborate quite a long time ago. And I was the choreographer for Grease. That was my first show with Theatrix. And then that was in 2005. And we moved on to several iterations of Les Miserables and right into Cats in 2007, which was a touring show. And then shows like Jekyll and Hyde, and throughout the year there were programs as well, but we always took on a large summer program. Footloose was a happy memory. And yeah, so I really have happy, joyful, crazy memories of working with the Theatrix family.
Tell us then, before we go on, because I have some follow-up questions, but before I go to those, tell everyone what your job in the theater is.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a teaching artist in theater and dance and circus. So I have a degree from the University of Victoria's Fine Arts theater program. And then I also have a degree in education from the University of Victoria. I have a master's degree from New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, and that's in performance studies. I graduated 10 years ago this week in May of 2010. Thanks. So in my working life, I run a theater company of my own now called Shift Theater. I work full-time at Riverside Secondary running the Riverside Theater program. And in my former life, I was a professional Latin dancer, and I am a choreographer in the community as well as a playwright.
You just said so many things that make me so excited. I don't know where to start. Why don't you tell me, of all the roles that you've had in theater, which of them really do you have the most fun with, or do you find the most inspiring?
Thank you for asking, because currently in my job as a theater educator, like yourself, I don't get a lot of the spotlight, as any of us knows. We are in the performing arts because part of us loves that opportunity to express ourselves, to share a story, to create a human connection on stage. But lately, I've been really loving letting my students have that spotlight and seeing how they can grow, evolve, and achieve in that high pressure zone. But that's not to say I don't miss performing. I had so much fun when I was a Latin dancer. We toured Western Canada, and in 2007, right before the Cats tour, I won the World Cuban Dance Championships with a group of 12 in Miami Beach, Florida. It's still a very vivid memory.
So, Coco, why don't we start with your dance background? How did you get into professional dancing?
Great question. I have always danced. I really believe that if you can move, do move, and especially move to music. I was dancing when I was 2 and 3 years old, I'm told. I forgot about dance when I became a teacher and director and actor and background actor, etc., until my mid-20s, when I said to myself, I'm really missing something, and I think it's dance. And the next day, I saw an audition in the newspaper, back when newspapers were like these paper things that people read. These days, auditions can be found online. I prepared quickly and attended the audition to be a salsa dancer, and I had never danced salsa, but I follow well, and I am in tune with my body, and I happened to have kept in shape and flexible, so I got the part, and 6 weeks later I was on tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting about that story is that it's not something that you were gearing up towards for many years. It was kind of just something that you switched. You had already had the background, you already had the knowledge. So it's not like you were teaching yourself this new skill in your mid-20s, but you certainly changed directions at that time.
Yeah, I really see career paths as unique for everyone and filled with lateral movement, left, right. The idea is that you want to be ready when a door gets unlocked for you, you want to be ready to walk through that door. So if you're someone who is interested in being involved in dance in some way, you have to stay fit, you have to stay flexible. If you're interested in, you know, for me, I had a job in the summer times teaching dance and circus and drama way before I had a degree of any kind, because I thought someday I'm going to do this more. So it's just like having as many doors unlocked as possible. Today in my classroom these days at Riverside, I run a dance program for all levels in the same room, all genders, any background at all. And I run it like an alternative to the physical education department. We move, we operate from wherever we're at on that day on an individual basis. We stretch, we sweat, we explore, I think it's the best. I love it, and so do my students.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. And on that note, I actually wanted to ask you about when you choreographed cats for theater. Deb talks about it all the time. In particular, she talks about it as an example of dance that was choreographed for non-dancers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to hear your take on how you came up with that.
Wow. Thank you. I'm glad that Deb looks back fondly. So do I. And so would Peter Abando and any of the other people involved, I think. The key was you didn't have to be an upper level dancer to be in Cats, because I really thought, I decided that I can teach you how to have felinity as an actor and how to have fluidity as a mover, and that you don't have to have like grade 9 jazz, you know? So I think that it kind of creates equity in the dance classroom, because not everybody can either afford the time or the finances to take dance at a high level studio. I love that Theatrix and people like us can provide those opportunities that are more equitable, more socially just, essentially. So it was all about how can we be as cat-like as possible. And if that means that your body is able to do a grand jeté, great. But if that means that I'm just going to show you how to roll across the floor, well, then we'll just do it on beat. But the idea was you can be sitting there watching a cat in the background who's not under the spotlight, and that person will be as involved as anyone else on stage. You got to stay in, and you have to stay active.
I love it. So I have had the pleasure of coming to see a few of your shows now at Riverside. Riverside, sorry, is what the theater is called there. I really enjoyed getting to see Rent a couple years ago and Newsies more recently. So with your directing and your choreography that you do there, what are some of the principles that you live behind and teach behind to get people into those shows?
I like vigorous activity. I like vigorous people. I believe that there is a time to work hard and a time to play. I will always offer the time to play, but when we're on stage and we're rehearsing to be on stage, we are always committed to the moment. That's everything. You can't be halfway in the room. You have to be 100% in the room. And learning how to do that for anybody can be so fulfilling.
So when you have a cast of 60 people, they're high school students and they're all different levels, beginner to expert dancers. How do you go about choreographing for such a large number with such a big range of experience?
With difficulty, but with a lot of joy and laughter. From the very beginning, the roots of everything is that we're in a positive and supportive, creative risk environment. So there is absolutely no way that anyone is allowed to put anyone else down in my classroom, because we're all operating from a different place. We've all walked into the room with our life experiences, with our physical differences, with our training. And from there, I will find out. I will say, okay, let's go back to cats. I could say, okay, today I'm going to find out who's got the 10 best cartwheels in the room. So it might be that somebody who is not a dancer actually has a great cartwheel, so they get a featured moment on stage. I think the whole thing is figuring out what everyone does have to offer and then highlighting that.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of your philosophies, and I think it would be so much fun to work with you in a capacity. I wish I was in high school. I could take one of your classes right now.
Oh, I would love to work with you, but I think we'd be better suited as collaborators.
That's probably true. Let's switch gears one more time because you did so many things we can talk about. I want to hear more about your circus stuff that you do. I know circus, but there's a lot of different expertise areas in circus. So what do you do?
That is a great point you just made. There are a lot of different expertises. Is that a plural? Kids, look it up. I do not have those expertise. I am in awe of those expertise. Instead, I see myself as gifted with people moving, communication, and I'm the ringleader. So I'm the ringmaster and I'm the choreographer of large groups. So I basically fell into that job too. About 11 years ago, I was invited to teach clowning and choreography for 2 weeks in the summer. And 2 years went by, and the people who ran the program noticed that I was really good at stage managing, directing the show, editing together the scenes of the circus, and packaging it as one themed event. And so they asked me to basically start running the program. So I'm very fortunate to work with an expert juggler, an expert acrobat, an expert puppeteer, etc. And my job is to create the glue that just puts it all together. And that glue is often, what story are we telling? How are we going to tell it clearly? How can I include 100 kids in this story?
Wow, that is so intense. So here's a question for you. With that program in particular, it sounds like you're creating the show from scratch. It's not like you're starting with a story at the start of the week, you're figuring it out as you go. Is that right?
What we do is we start every Monday with a theme and we take it from there. So last year we decided that the theme was things that fly. And so we started right from the get-go with theme music. The kids come to the first day of camp and, the Foo Fighters is playing with like, learning to fly. And we've got things going. We've created puppets of birds. And on the very first day, they're introduced to the idea that they're going to figure out a show about flight. I think that if we all just commit to giving our best in the moment, that even when mistakes happen, the audience is going to love us. They see that we are generous performers and that we're there for them. So mistakes can happen. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, I want to do some fast questions here.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you about a bunch of the different jobs that you've mentioned today, clowning and directing and choreography. And I just want to see your answer as to what skills a student or a kid would want to develop to go into these. What makes a good clown, for example?
Okay.
So let's start there. Coco, what skills make a good clown?
Face. Communicate with your eyes and your face, and slow down. Be in the moment. Listen.
And what skills make a good choreographer?
Knowing where people are at, using what they've brought to the table or to the dance floor, and being comfortable with repetition.
What skills make a good professional dancer?
Dedication, perseverance, being willing to sweat for what you achieve, and face. People forget. You might be dancing with your feet, but your face is telling the story of the dance, of the music. And I am not the best dancer in the room, in any room, but I was always told, wow, you dance with your face.
What makes a good director?
Patience and compassion, vision, and communication skills. Those 4 things, that's what you need.
And then similar question, what makes a good drama teacher?
Okay, so those 4 things, patience, compassion, vision, and communication skills. But then also a good, I believe that a good drama teacher is a trusted adult, a surrogate mom, a counselor, a career coach, um, gosh, a costume designer, a cop. Mhm.
And I think for the last question today, I would love to hear just some words of advice, your last words of wisdom, whatever you would like to impart to the students who are watching today to encourage them.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for giving me that opportunity. I would say that considering the lateral left and right turns that my career path has taken and the idea of those unlocked doors that I talked about before, don't be afraid to change your mind. Don't be afraid to expand your horizons. And don't be afraid to try new things. We are going to have a very diverse future with the need for all kinds of well-rounded individuals, just like you. So get ready to jump in.